Welcome to episode 12 of the Starting Four podcast. We have our week 7 picks for college football and our week 6 storylines out of college football. I'm Tabor.
I'm Thomas. So our first headline is UCLA beating Penn State in the Rose Bowl Stadium. It was close, but UCLA was looked like it was going to win it throughout. Penn State made a little comeback, but not enough. And I think it started with the first play or after the first touchdown with the onside kick UCLA pulled. They pulled out all the stops just to beat Penn State, and I'm here for it. When you're that big of a underdog, you got to pull out stuff. All new coaching staff. But I want to ask, how do you feel with Penn State in the future now this season?
Um, yeah, I think Drew Aller is a complete fraud, even though I don't really think it's a James Franklin problem. You have to fire him at the end of the season. This is like you lose big games, sure, but this is just the worst loss of his career. This was no like this is a team that hadn't UCLA team that didn't hold a lead for any point up until that game.
Hmm.
And then I almost feel bad you being an Oregon fan, it just completely takes away that Penn State win.
No, definitely.
It makes that Penn State win look like nothing.
Hmm.
And then just on the guy, I don't know, Jerry, what's his last name?
I would not be. I
Is he
know
the interim head coach or interim OC?
OC.
Yeah, I mean, cool. I don't read UCLA better not read into any of that.
Hmm.
It's, I mean, we saw with that, I know a different sport, but Texas basketball, when they had their interim head coach take them to the deep Final Four, right? Was it?
Yeah,
And they gave him the
somewhere
spot
around.
immediately, and he ended up being terrible.
Yeah.
Don't read anything into what happened in that game. That's a lot of smoke. Maybe it's not, but definitely don't even. I don't want to hear any talks of promoting him to either full time OC or possibly head coach. It just doesn't make sense.
See, I think he should be a full-time OC, especially at UCLA, not probably not anywhere else. I saw people, Oregon fans, if Will Stein moves on to a head coaching job, we need to get him. And he's a good OC, but he still has a lot to learn. He's still new, but I think UCLA should try to keep him around as long as can. He went to UCLA, was a QB there. So he's UCLA born and raised basically. So I feel like they should try to keep him in there and let him learn how to be an OC and maybe make his way up to a head coaching job for UCLA. But I think he should be the full-time OC after that win because no one had UCLA beating Penn State with
Yeah.
with that Penn State defense. So I think he should be OC. Um, but next we got Alabama holding off for Vanderbilt. It was a close game all the way up to the in the third, fourth quarter. Alabama ran away with it. Ty Simpson looks great. Diego Pavia didn't have a good game. Um, I think Alabama's scary. I think after that Florida State loss, I think they're one of at least performance-wise, top five team. I know rankings and that one loss will hurt them, but I think after that loss, I think they've shown they could be a top five team in this league, and this year. Ty Simpson's throwing the ball well, probably a good finalist for a Heisman with this season going on. So, how do you feel about Ty Simpson, Alabama?
Yeah, they're officially back after that win. Scary team. If they make I think realistically, they still would have to probably, I don't know, if their only other loss is in the SEC championship, the committee will probably send them through as just like a bottom seed team.
Definitely.
And but I think to guarantee it, obviously they have to win the SEC championship, which I think they might be the favorite right now, honestly.
Yeah, definitely.
They
I,
look
I
good.
I think with two losses, they're in no matter what. Um,
And then, but another thing, just Diego Pavier, I think he was talking a little mess before the game, and then just to go out there and play like he did, you kind of just threw up a stinker.
Definitely.
You got humbled.
Yeah, definitely. How do you feel? Did you see the clip with the Alabama fan and Pavia jarring back and forth after the game?
I didn't see that, but just I don't even need context for it. You need to not do that with fans.
Yeah, and like I know the fan was old enough to like not do that to a
Yeah.
player. I know it's Pavia and Pavia talks a lot of mess, but like it's not like don't jar back with a college kid. Like I think he was at least 50 plus, like age wise, if I had to guess. So,
No, yeah, for sure. But at the end of the day, the blame's going to be put on you. Have the cameras on you, Pavier. So you have to just realize that like people are watching your every move when you're out on that field.
mhm,
You need to just not let that noise get to you because that's not a good look either if you're going to let that stuff actually bother you and feel the need to retaliate.
definitely. Next and last storyline is Miami beats Florida State in Tallahassee. It looked like it was a done deal in the third quarter, and then Florida State made a little bit of comeback and made it much closer than the score really in the game entailed. Um, Miami is a real deal. Florida State, I struggled. Tommy Castellanos made multiple errors and cost him that game basically. If he didn't have, I want to say he had two picks, didn't have those two picks, they could have probably won. Carson Beck did what he needed to. Malachi Tony is probably one of the top five best freshmen in this college football season. How do you feel the outlook on Miami and then also Florida State now having two losses back-to-back weeks?
Yeah, I think it's over. I think the Florida State little fun train might be done. I think their season could essentially be over. As for Miami, I honestly wouldn't even hate if they were the number one team in the country right now. They're playing like a number one team. I think they have a very good just like resume behind them with beating Notre Dame, USF, who is back in the rankings, and now Florida State. I think you have,
And Florida.
yeah, exactly. You have the wins. It's like I think they could. I don't know if they are the number one team in the country, but I think they might be a little more deserving of the ranking of number one in the country right now.
And with their resume, I think they should be number one. The only thing I have is like with Ohio State being number one, until they lose, they should be number one. They won the national championship. I know it's a much different team than last year, but I just think until they lose, it's hard to put them in front of. And then Oregon, I can see everybody says Oregon's better, like team
Mhm.
wise, but they haven't played anyone now because Penn State lost. But the only reason why I could see people ranking Oregon over Miami, it's just Oregon hasn't lost a Big Ten regular season game and since joining, and the only loss they've had the last year and a half is to Ohio State in the playoffs. So I can see that making just until they lose a regular season game. But Miami definitely has the resume to be the number one team. It's just hard
I
to.
think also
uh,
I just like AP talk. I don't hate the ranking, but I also don't. I like no like this is the year that AP is gonna just be like no one. Everyone's now realizing how much of a joke it is. Like
mhm.
you had two teams in the top 10 take one loss and they're both now out of it. Now, I don't think Penn State or Texas were top 10 teams, but in what world do two top 10 teams fall out of the rankings after 1 week?
Yeah,
I don't necessarily care how bad the loss is. That means that everyone knew who was voting knew that they weren't really top 10 teams, but they weren't willing to drop them any farther because they had them 1 and 2 to start the season.
oh, definitely.
And
And
then the only other thing I have to say is I look at the Texas Tech Alabama 9 and 8, and if you're gonna like, I think strength of schedule with Penn State and Texas staying where they were in the top 10 is thrown out the door. I think that argument has to be thrown out the door because it wasn't being that way for Texas and Penn State before
Mhm.
these losses.
Yeah, the AP is so weird with rankings, and it's hard to really because like half of them don't. It seems like they don't even watch football on
Yeah.
Saturdays. But we'll wait until the college football playoff rankings come out, and that's really all
After,
that matters. So
is it after this weekend?
I don't know if it's after this weekend, but it's getting up there pretty soon. It's crazy. We're already week 7. Um, so with that being said, let's get into our week 7 picks. We have a loaded slate for you. Last week, Tabor and I both went 3-3. That increases Tabor's record to 24-16, and it increases mine to 19-21. Trying to get over the 500 hump this weekend. So first, we got college game day, and the game I'm gonna be glued to watch is number 7 Indiana versus number 3 Oregon in Autzen. Oregon had a both had a bye week, so they had 2 weeks to prepare for this game. Oregon thought they were very confident and looked like a really good team, but with the Penn State loss, their win does look a little bit blemished. Indiana's looked great this whole year. Did have a little stumble against Iowa, but still ended up winning. Iowa's a pretty hard place to play. This game is very close. Somehow the spread is 7.5 favorites for Oregon. I think that's a little bit too big, just top 10 teams. Um, I will say Oregon's at home record the last 5 years. They've only lost one to Washington. So um, I'm it's not going to be hard for me to pick. I'm going with Oregon. A little bias on this. I just that whiteout game I showed me a lot of confidence in this young team. I will say this will be Oregon's hard matchup DB with wide receivers in the pass game. Yes, this if this young DB core with Ife Obadegu and Brandon Finney can hold up, I think sky's the limit for them, and they can really be a national championship bound team.
Yeah, I also like Oregon. Not only do I think they're a better team, they've had 2 weeks now to prepare for this game. It being at home also big for Oregon. So I don't I just 7.5. I honestly don't even hate that. I don't hate Oregon covering that. Um, I haven't been sold on Indiana. I don't know. It's not that they're not playing good football. It's just I think it's a new, just like admitting that Indiana could be a like national championship contender is hard for me to say. And they're going to go up against a team that is now considered again a national championship team contender.
It's there's some crazy storylines and stats in this game. I've seen third time ever in 50 years, both head coaches have a better winning percentage than 85%. Fernando Mendoza played in Autzen as a Cal QB. That game did not go well for him. Um, I will say Cal didn't have a good team. Um, but he did say Oregon wasn't loud when he played last time, so I think the fans are going to show out, so we'll hope so. But next, we got the Red River rivalry. Number 6, Oklahoma versus unranked Texas. Somehow Texas opens as a 3.5 point favorite. I'm not taking Texas. I think Oklahoma's the better team. Texas has looked shaky all year. Last week, Texas run game was awful, over averaging like 1.5 yards a carry. So I just think Oklahoma's a better team with or without John Mateer. He is questionable, so we'll see how if he plays.
Yeah, I'm looking at the lines now. It is now shifted to -1.5 Oklahoma.
Okay.
Uh, That being said, I think I like OU. I'm picking OU. It does worry me that Texas opened as a favorite and the line has shifted now 3.5, 5 points total.
I think
Um,
it's because of the news with John Mateer being
yeah,
questioned.
I see that, but I also see like just that means a lot of people were taking Oklahoma to cover at three and a
Oh,
half or
definitely. Yeah.
money line. So like it worries that it opened at that because just like Vegas scares me. And like the fact that they even thought Texas was a favorite from what they've seen these 2 years, it's just like it's concerning.
Hmm.
But yeah, I think Oklahoma's by far the much better team. Mateer not playing,
Yeah.
um, proven that they can win without him. So I like Oklahoma as well.
Okay. Next, we got number one Ohio State versus number 17 Illinois. Illinois is coming off of a couple good wins against USC and who did they play? I forgot who they played last week, if they played anyone. Um, and Ohio State, it's the number one team, look great. Beat Washington out Washington, beat Minnesota in the trap game. Um,
They played two last week.
Purdue, that's who, yeah. Um, They, I don't see this going anyway. We bet on Illinois one week when they played in Indiana at home and they got beat. So I'm not making that same mistake. I'm taking Ohio State to win.
Yeah, that's kind of my same reasoning. Just like that Illinois Indiana game just kind of sits with me just looking at this. And it kind of just makes me think Illinois is not that good. And when you're going against an Ohio State team, it's a no-brainer to go Ohio State here.
Mhm. Next, we got number 8 Alabama versus number 14 Missouri. A lot of people thought this should be college game day. Um, But these two teams have been, looked great. Ty Simpson looks like a Heisman candidate. Bo Perbula looks great as well. It's fallen off the last couple of games. I would say he was like a top Heisman candidate. Um, Missouri's running back Ahmad Hardy looks great. Alabama is coming off multiple wins against good teams. I'm taking Alabama. Keep the train rolling, roll tide.
Let me I I think I want to take Alabama, but just for to have a fun pick and just kind of like because I don't look too deep into like rosters and like how they've been playing. I kind of just take it at face value. Missouri's playing at home. Missouri's 5-0 and behind. They're 5-0, haven't lost in conference, and they're behind two teams. Or no, I guess Bama doesn't have a comp. Is Florida State in the SEC? No, they're not, right? They
No,
are?
Florida State's in
Yeah,
ACC.
ACC, right? Yeah. So I mean, Bama, I mean, they have Missouri behind a one law. I mean, Georgia has a conference loss and they're ranked ahead of them. So I think this is almost a prove it game for Missouri. They've looked very solid. So I want to take Missouri.
Uh, Next, we got Florida versus number 5 A&M. Texas A&M has been rolling, still hasn't lost. Um, Losing should be soon, I think. Um, with it's at College Station. I feel like they've gotten really lucky with their home and away games with having home against Florida, Mississippi State, and Auburn. Three hard places to play in, I will say. And I think they keep it rolling. I can see them dropping it, but I'm taking A&M.
Yeah, I've been picking against them all year and they've been proving me wrong. So I'm finally going to take them, which means they're going to lose.
Hmm.
But I am going to ride with them as much as I hate to do that. I
Yeah.
have I can't keep betting against them. I'm just dropping picks for no reason at this point, just betting against them, picking against them out of pure spite. So I'm going to also go with A&M.
Yeah. Next, Kansas versus number 9, Texas Tech. Texas Tech finally in the top 10. And I don't know how many years that's been um, drought wise, but Texas Tech's look great. Top 10 offense, top 10 defense. Really good edge rushers at Romeo Height and David Bailey. Brent Marion Morton is killing it. Running backs is filled in. With that, I'm taking Texas Tech. Kansas is scary, but Kansas, I don't think can keep up with Texas Tech.
Yeah. Obviously I'm taking Texas Tech. My reasonings though behind it. defense looks like it could be a top deep, like it is a top defense in the country, and their offense kind of, even though we had a bad game last week, I think we had 7 field goals, couldn't score in the red zone. With that, we still won 35-11 away to an unbeaten Houston team. So we still won by 24 points and had to settle for 7 field goals during the game. I think we went 1 for 4, 1 for 5 in the red zone for touchdowns. Um, Offense, that's not going to happen again. Sure, I mean, Kansas is scary, but we're playing back in Lubbock. It's going to be a good environment. And yeah, Texas Tech, it's been since 2013, we have not been in the top 10. So wouldn't be surprised though if we just drop it because it's Texas Tech, but I'm pretty confident in this team. I think we're going to win that game.
Okay. Moving on, we got number 10 Georgia versus number unranked Auburn. Um, Georgia, they just beat Kentucky, lost to Alabama in 2 weeks. Um, Auburn, I think had a bye week, if I'm not mistaken. I feel like they didn't play last week. Um, they've had some brutal losses in the past couple of weeks, and they need to get back on the horse, but I just think Georgia's a better team. Um, and I feel like Georgia can't drop another game after losing to Alabama. So I got Georgia.
Yeah, I also like Georgia. Auburn has lost 2 tough games. You lose to Oklahoma by a possession and you lose to A&M by a possession. Like you were in I mean, two now top 6 teams. You were in with a 1 possession game. So I definitely think they're a solid team. You know, you're a couple plays going one way to win those 2 games, and then you're thinking about where you're ranked.
Mhm.
But yeah, Georgia's a better team. I don't think they have any hope plans of the season ending this weekend. So I think they're going to go in there and take care of business because if they don't, getting to the SEC championship game gets very difficult.
Yeah. Next, we got number 15, Michigan versus USC. USC is a high power offense, like usual. Michigan was in a dogfight against Wisconsin last week. I'm not surprised. Bryce Young looked injured, couple of play or got injured, but was in the game most of the time. Michigan had struggles with dropping in the first half, drops in the first half. So they need to figure that out. I think Michigan's defense is really good. I think that keeps them in the game, and I think Michigan outscores USC. So I'm taking Michigan.
Yeah. Uh, I picked Michigan. I think I'm going to stick with Michigan because they have looked solid throughout the year. They've surprised me. They're underdogs. USC's -2.5. But yeah, I like Michigan. I think just all around a better team. And yeah, there's not much more to say. That's just who I like.
Yeah. Next, we got South Carolina versus number 11 LSU. Um, I think LSU needs to get back on the wagon if they want to make the playoffs. Losing this game will really put them out of it, and having a long shot to get back in. South Carolina's looked if shaky this whole season. Norris Seller's been in and out with injuries. Nick Carter hasn't really made that big of an impact. LSU just needs to find an offense. Once they find an offense, LSU could be a dangerous team. And I think LSU could find it this game, hopefully. I'm taking LSU.
Yeah, I think, like you said, must win for LSU. But like, I wanted to pick South Carolina, but they have looked just so streaky this year. Um, and I think it's a bigger game for Brian Kelly than like maybe looked into. If he loses this game, I think he's right back onto the hot seat. Even if he still might be. I mean, I don't necessarily think he is. I think he's had a very solid season. Like, sure, their offense has been lacking, but they're still winning games at the end of the day.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, I like LSU as well.
Okay. Second to last game, we got number 18 ranked BYU versus Arizona. Arizona's looked good, but did lose earlier in the season. BYU's looked great. Did looked scary against Colorado 2 weeks ago, pulled it out in the end. Um, and I just think BYU is a better team. Noah Fifita's look good, but doesn't have Ted McMillan on the outside. So with that, I'm taking BYU.
Yeah, I'm also taking BYU. I think it's going to be, I could see it being a very good game. I could even see Arizona possibly winning that game.
Mm,
I'm taking BYU for the fact that they are the better team, along with I need Texas Tech and BYU to be undefeated for that game because I'm going to that game. And I would love to see if they're both undefeated by November 8th. That might be two top 10 teams for maybe top 12. We
mhm.
could see a college game day in Lubbock. I mean, if Texas Tech is undefeated by then and they're not a top 8 team, top 7 team, I think it's just disrespect towards the Big 12. So I'm
Yeah.
praying for undefeated matchup in Lubbock. So I am also going to take BYU.
Okay. Last game on the matchup slate, we got 21 number 21 Arizona State versus Utah. In Utah, we got Sam Levitt has looked pretty good this year. Struggled against Mississippi State, but after that, he's been looking great. Jordan Tyson's in our top five Heisman rankings. He's been incredible. They have some couple good guys on the defense, like uh, Apney at corner, one of the best man corners. And then another player, Prince. Oh, I forgot his last name, Prince. He's a D lineman. He looked great the other week, and made the studs of the week. Um, and I think Arizona State's a good team, so I'm taking Arizona State to beat Utah.
I think I know. Did Utah? Are they coming off a bye? Yeah, Utah's coming off a bye. Did Arizona State also have a bye, or did
I
they
think
play?
if they played someone, they played a team that they beat.
They did not play. Okay, so they're
They,
both on bye. Um, with Utah's only loss being to Texas Tech, who now we've seen is a legit team after building off that win. Um, and then Utah came out the following week and won by 31 points to West Virginia. I know West Virginia's not good, but Big 12 on the road, you never know what could happen.
Mhm.
Them, I think, not being ranked is kind of interesting to me. There was a lot of hype around them and just one loss to now a top 10 team, and you've kind of forgotten about them. I like Utah. They're playing at home. Um, people still think they have the best offensive line in the Big 12, even though Texas Tech made it seem like they didn't. I think Texas Tech's defensive line is just a top five in the country, so it's hard to up against that no matter how good your offensive line is. But yeah, I
Mhm.
like Utah in this game.
Okay. With that being said, that's the end of the episode. Thanks for watching the Starting Four podcast. See you next time.
Thank you. See you next time.